I mean, let's be honest, the best way to talk about feelings is in the language that you know the best, you know. Even for me, I can talk about this in English, but to actually feel properly this, it needs to be said in Polish.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, and this is another episode of UNHidden Communities podcast. Today we are talking with Carolina. I don't know how to introduce you actually. Why are you here?
I was invited here to talk about domestic abuse and different side of it and the help that I received or haven't received in this country as a foreign person.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think it's important?
It's important to send a message to others, to the police, like to the court and other places, that the help is needed, that the domestic abuse it's something that is out there, that it's happening. It's not just on the paper, because at the moment it looks like it's just on the paper. They're using the words domestic abuse, emotional abuse, because that's the main one. The physical is always easy to prove. You can see, obviously, you can see the bruises or cuts. With emotional abuse, it's the hidden one. It takes longer to prove that it actually happened. But in that time, because it takes long time, it's taking huge impact on the victims. Okay. And it's important for everyone to see, for example, court, social services, police, and other services to see that, because I don't think they take in this seriously.
So what do you think, that they don't understand it properly? So when you say that it's only on paper, that it is, in theory they know, but in practice...
In theory they know, but there is not much help there, especially for foreign people. Okay. I mean, I was the lucky one actually, because I could speak English. I could go out there and look for help. But even for me, I found it really hard, really difficult. I just didn't know where to go. I was on my own, no family here. And I had 2 small kids that needed help. At that point, I didn't even realize how much I needed help myself. So, but there was literally, apart from Black Country Women's Aid, there was absolutely nothing for me that I was aware or I got any information about anything there for me available.
I'm assuming from what you're saying that what you experienced was not a physical abuse.
No, it was emotional abuse. Okay. There was some physical, but it wasn't like on a daily basis. It was physical, I would say, the kind of, if my ex-husband was angry, he was throwing the subjects, and sometimes they did hit me or the kids.
How would you describe emotional abuse? Like, what is it? How does it work?
For me, to be honest, it took years after we weren't together to realize what exactly happened or what was happening in my relationship. It was mainly he was playing games with my head. So I was really, if you think about this, I was free. I could go out, I could have friends, I could do whatever I want. But then I couldn't, because if I go out or if I went out, then I had loads of messages. Where are you? There was loads of problems suddenly that I need to solve. I need to come back home. And after coming back, it was the after effect, you see. It was the arguments, why they go out. Maybe I met some man there. Maybe I was talking about him. And, better if I won't go out next time, because there is so many rapes around, attacks, and, I'm in danger. So for the sake of it, really, not to listen any of this, I've stopped going out. He was a very jealous person, so I couldn't really speak to many men around, even if it was just a normal, polite conversation. For him, there was always hidden agenda. So that person fancy me or I fancy that person, and I'm probably flirting. For years, I didn't think, because I know police asked me if I experienced financial abuse, and I always said no, that I was really in charge of money. But after years, I've realized that was actually the case as well, because even that I had access to accounts, there was never any money. He was always spending all of it. It was on marijuana or alcohol or other things. So that was the kind of, I was scared to leave because, okay, I haven't got money, we have debts, I've got nowhere to go, I've got no family here. And then, as he always said, nothing really happening here. He said, I'm not abusive to you. He said, you've got no bruises, I'm not going out drinking with mates, you know, I'm working hard. So I thought, well, yeah, all of those things not happening, so maybe it's my imagination. And he was always twisting things, so whatever happened, it ended up being my fault anyway. So I think over the years I've learned to keep everything as quiet as possible, not to upset him. Because when there was a situation, oh my God, his scream, it was a different kind of level of anger. It wasn't normal argument. It was that performance as well. He needed the audience. So he was always it was embarrassing me in public. He was always looking for people to argue in public place so he can embarrass me and show how horrible I am as a person to him. So I've learned not to go out as a family because I just didn't want to be embarrassed anymore.
How long were you in England after you got into that relationship?
I came in 2005 to UK. We got together in 2011.
At that time, did you manage to build a network of friends and people around you?
Not really. I mean, I had few friends, but I was never really a people person, mainly because I came from abusive family as well. So my experience were like, I would stay away from people because they might hurt me. Yeah, so I didn't have a really that support built. I had few friends, but it wasn't like I didn't really go to community. I didn't really go to meet people.
When you were in that relationship, how long did it take for you to realize that something's wrong?
I think I knew from the beginning.
Okay.
Because I did seek help at the start of our relationship.
Okay.
I was actually pregnant with our first daughter. And it was that point when I really wanted to escape.
Okay.
I went to the doctors, I didn't know where to go really. I've asked them for help. They gave me some address to go to. However, I mean, I can't remember where did I go, but I can't say if that was social services or... And I remember I was in the room talking to a lady about what's happening and I need help, support. I was suggested to go back to Poland because that's the place where I was receive all the help I need. For me, that wasn't even the case because my first job was actually in UK. I never worked in Poland. I came here as a young girl straight after school. So I just thought, what can I get pregnant in Poland? Never had a job there. Well, I can't find now because I'm pregnant and my family can't support me. So the only choice I've had was to go back to my partner and to just be quiet.
And how long were you in a relationship now?
We were together for nearly 10 years.
And you have two children together?
2 children, yeah.
You know, after 10 years, what happened that you decided that, like, how did you, what was there a moment where is there a picture of a moment where you can remember this is it?
I think it was actually quite a few moments. As much as there were 2 sides, it felt like it was like instant decision. But then going back, I remember, I think it was going on for quite a few months. It was building up to saying, look, I need a break. I've started working. After the kids got older, I went back to work. And I think that's when it got to the point, because I was going out, I was around people, he got even more jealous. And I don't know how to describe, but I almost felt like I couldn't breathe anymore. Not physically, but I just couldn't. Wherever I move, he was shutting the door for me. And I felt so trapped. So there was quite a few situations, it got to the point when which way I'm going to work, what laundry I'm wearing, because maybe if I'm wearing my bra is too nice, probably I'm having an affair. It got to the point when I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, at work, all I was thinking is like, what I'm gonna do. I still didn't know. I was petrified, because I know previously when we had arguments and he was, moving out for the hundreds of times, he said he's gonna commit suicide if I'm gonna leave him. So I had that on the back of my head. What if he's gonna hurt himself? And for me to actually make that decision to say we need a break, I think I must have been like the lowest. I just couldn't see myself breathe, think. I was just trapped, and it's got, when something is so tight, you just can't take it anymore.
So what was that moment? What did you do in that moment? Like, what happened? Where did you go?
It was at home when he came back from work. I just sat down. I said, look, I need to talk to you. And I just said it. I said, I need a break. I need a break from us. And now thinking that was the best decision of my life, but it wasn't in the same time, if you know what I mean, because I thought with this decision, I'm starting my new life. And all that nightmare will be behind us. And actually the nightmare started after I've said it, because that's when he got even worse. I still did have to live with him on the one roof for more than a month until the police removed him.
Wow, okay, so... Right, so that's like, I can't even imagine. I don't know how to unpick it. Like, so in that month, just tell us what happened during that month. You told him that you want to leave, and what happened?
He told me to really, well, at first, I think he found his parents to moan about me, that apparently I spoke to his mom, and I said he's getting jealous, which it is true. I spoke to his mom months before that I can't cope with his jealousy. But I've been told that's him. He was always like this, and usually men like this, so just get on with your life. Then I think he went outside to tell the girls, and the way he said it, it was just completely wrong. Holly, my older daughter, was screaming like you wouldn't believe, because he said, Mommy doesn't love me anymore, she wants me out, so you haven't got a father anymore. It was that kind of way, and at that moment I was like, what are you saying? I thought we're going to sit down as two adults. That's what I was expecting. I was still expecting for him to behave as an adult. That month, it was just, I didn't want to obviously sleep in the same bedroom, but he was constantly coming to me and, trying to talk to me what's happened. I probably got someone. It can't be like, for him, he's seen this as a perfect marriage. So there were two sides. He's seen as a perfect marriage. For me, that was like a nightmare. So he thought, because he was so perfect, I definitely met someone for me to make that decision, and he wanted to know the number of that person. And I just thought, I just want this to end. Then he said, I need to move out, because this is, I want to end the relationship, so I need to move out. And obviously his drinking he was drinking more, and one night he picked a knife and he tried to cut his throat. I don't really know if he would do it, but there was some blood, and I tried to stop him. At that point, that was the first time I've made a call to the police.
All right, and they came, and what happened after?
He ran away with the string saying he's going to hang himself. So they were chasing him because they thought, and I thought, he still got a knife. He was quite drunk at that point. They found him by Dudley Zoo. They've arrested him. And in the morning he was released. He came back to just collect the car, because the police brought his car. And I did say at that point, I said, I can't let you into the house. He went to stay with our friends. And just from there he tried to be nice and try to get back together. And to be honest, he was trying really hard, but more I was saying I need space, he was more getting aggressive again, to the point when he was coming to the house, taking stuff or checking if I've got someone in bed. Because I live by 2 schools, so there's always some cars parked outside, and he thought they were my lovers parking there. He started filming us outside the house with kids. He started going around my workplace, around kids' school, saying that I'm cheating on him, I throw him out, he's homeless now. All sorts of stories that I was actually got to the point when I was scared to go out. Oh, okay. Because people were giving me the looks, especially, I'm already foreign here, sometimes will get the looks. Mm-hmm. If they can hear the accent. Mm-hmm. So to go out and get all those people or women outside the school looking at me like I'm that horrible person, I was like, I just wanted to have a normal life, and now it's getting even worse. So there were thoughts at that time, maybe I should just stay with him for the sake of it.
So what, in terms of, without telling us the whole story, who did you go out to get some help, and why?
To be honest, not many people. Police obviously gave me the number to the solicitor if I need help. There was a point when I've used that card to get a non-molestation order against him. I got that for 6 months only. And Black Country Women's Aid, and that was it. I then went, to be honest, I didn't even know where to go, what's available. Nobody really said anything. The only person that helped me the most at that time, I had early help support. Okay. Person who was looking after us, and I think he helped me. I found him after that incident with the knife, and I said what's happened, and that my husband's at that time is not coming back to the house anymore. Mm-hmm. He was actually the one who got me look, you need to write everything down, what you need to do, what kind of help, because obviously I needed some obviously help with financially. I was working nights at that time, so I knew I couldn't go back to work on nights. I did have to sort something with my work, with the house, because we had to cancel a house with joint names. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't know what to do, and he said, look, start writing it down. What is the most important? So I thought, financial support was the most important. I got my mum to come over from Poland at that time, so I was lucky enough. Mm-hmm. I still did have to go. I still was going for nights and then transferring to days at work. I don't think if he wouldn't sit down with me and say, look, you need to write this down, I don't think I would know. It was just the way he's do one bit at a time. Don't think about the bigger picture, everything. Just think about that one thing you need to do at that time, and do that every day. So that's how I learned those little steps, not to make, because for me it was a massive one step, and he showed me no, it's small steps. Apart from that, I didn't get much.
So what did Women's Aid do?
They did phone me once a week to just assess the risk. Okay. I was high risk at that point, so the safety reasons, all the safety things, that was quite high, because he was still in the picture. He was driving past the house, and a little bit to talk to someone, but I wanted to talk to someone in Polish. I couldn't, even that I could communicate in English. I needed that, or to go somewhere, to some kind of group when I can find out what exactly going on, or maybe meet someone who's going through the same thing, because I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong. I needed that kind of support. And at that time I wasn't directed in any way. I even did say, I said I would prefer groups.
So imagine now, because obviously I know it's not going to be easy for you to, but obviously you are, I don't want to call it a lucky situation, but you were fortunate enough to speak English,
Yes.
right? So imagine if you didn't speak English. Like, how easy would it be for you to get the help that you needed?
I can't really imagine, because I was already petrified. I was in a foreign country. I had no family here, no friends to support me. So I was already, really scared. I was thinking, did I make the right move? Maybe I should have stayed just for the. So I can't imagine how it must feel for the woman that can't speak English. That I assume there must be a lot of women there that just, first of all, they don't recognize that they're in the abusive relationship because it's emotional one. Second, because they don't really know where to go, what to say. I just can't imagine.
So if you were to, for example, let's say that there's a lady that's out there, a Polish lady, and listening to this podcast, and she's wondering, am I in a similar situation like yourself? Like, how would you say, are there any symptoms that you can look out for to recognize that in yourself, because obviously let's not try to diagnose other people now, but in yourself where you just start to feel like something's not right here?
You've got that good feeling and you should trust it. I always had that feeling inside me that something isn't right. You know what I mean? When you question yourself, is it something wrong with me? That is already a huge sign that there is something going on in your relationship. There is quite a huge red flag. It's that feeling and that questioning myself constantly. That's already a sign. Massive. You shouldn't, if it's a healthy, don't get me wrong, every relationship have problems. You haven't got perfect relationship. But if you're already feeling not worthy of anything, and you question yourself all the time, you're feeling like you're going crazy, and you've got that feeling that something isn't right, you should follow that, especially when you have kids. Because at first I was staying because I thought I don't want to break family. But now going back, I'm obviously glad I did it, because the kids can have a better life, better future. If I would stay in that relationship, what kind of future would they have? They would just follow my steps and go into another relationship like I did, another abusive one.
So I know you don't want to talk about too much about children, but just tell maybe people how does it affect children? Because you were a child that experienced insane abuse when you were a child, right? So again, it was because of your mom's choices to be in certain relationships.
Yes.
Right? So how did it affect you as an adult?
Because my childhood, my mom's relationship were mainly physical abuse. I actually, to be honest, because I didn't see the bruises, I didn't think that anything serious happening here. I always say it's like an abuse with white gloves. You know what I mean? So it's like a perfect crime. No one can see anything. No one knows anything. But coming back from that household, obviously I didn't feel like I can achieve anything. I didn't feel like a good enough person to anyone. So I was really happy that someone was with me. And I felt worthless. I didn't think that I can ever achieve anything, or I deserve to achieve anything or have anything good. So, and looking now at my kids, obviously I can see similar things. Even that we ended relationship because it was going on for so long. It's already impacted them. So I know they've got quite low self-esteem. I know my older daughter, how she thinks that she's not good enough, just as I felt in the past. So I know there is a lot of work for me as a mum, and hopefully, to find someone who can help me, specialists who can help me for my girls to see that they are worthy, and they deserve better life. This isn't the life that they should have, or, they can have a fantastic future.
So, like... Yeah, I knew it's gonna happen, but that's why I've got the tissues. But so, for example, like looking at yourself as a child, right? Now thinking about all the kids that are in schools, right? I had insane call a while ago. We spoke about this lady. So we received a referral from primary school. Well, so the lady was referred to us by a primary school because she was from an abusive relationship, and partner was abusive in drugs, I think, and alcohol. And eventually he committed suicide across the road from his house, basically. And they had children, I think 3 children. So I know that when she came to us, there was nothing that we can help, because obviously the help that she needed was more than what we can do. But when I was talking to her, school was not doing anything because they thought that the children were too young to get affected by something like this, by years of abuse in the house, and then the partner committing suicide and things like that. So there was literally nothing that there was no help available for the kids, right? So what do you think kids need?
I actually had a similar situation. I've sent both girls straight after, not long after separating from my partner, my husband. I've sent them to receive some therapy. And the older one actually, at the same time when I wanted to send them private, the older one got on the list with school counsellor. So I stuck to that because obviously it was free, it was at school, but the younger one went on a few sessions with the therapist, and the therapist said to me that nothing wrong with her, she's got no traumas, nothing, she's a happy child. And I thought, oh, that's really good. So I never really looked for any more help. But then over the years, I noticed that her behavior started changing. She had the physical signs of really that she's in distress. Okay. And at first I was going to the doctors. I thought maybe she's poorly with something, she's got allergy, maybe I was looking for any different reasons until it got to the point that it's the abuse, emotional abuse she was receiving. Because don't forget, I wasn't with my ex-husband, but my kids were still seeing him, and they were still receiving that abuse. So I was very fortunate that the school, first primary school, when the both girls went, and my older now is in a secondary school. They are fantastic schools, and they supported us from day one. So the younger one is now on the list to receive counselling. I did also send the girls, the schools refer them to camps. Unfortunately, that's like going in circles with camps. So the doctor or the school will refer them. You go into camps where they're supposed to receive the help. I think the waiting list is about 2 years now for the kids. And what you're going to hear on the assessment, what I've heard, because I can't say for the others, was, it's not really in their heads, it's what's happening to them. It's because what's going on outside is the situation, at home. So there you go. It's another where else I can go. The other place was Black Country Women. That's how I found out. I found Black Country Women's Aid. I said, look, I'm looking for something that I can help my girls. They went through domestic abuse, and they actually have a program for the kids.
Okay.
So the lady had 10 sessions each with them. She went there once a week to the school to speak about wishes, feelings. With the older ones, she could start a bit different subjects as well. So that was a massive help. But apart from that, if you want, I mean, literally, it was me sitting on internet, phoning different places, looking where, apart from private, you just seriously have to have a huge amount of time and to try to find something available for kids. I mean, some people taking nearly £200 per hour to work with kids. I can't afford that for both girls.
That's insane, right? So, in terms, with that in mind, what would be an ideal pathway for someone like you who found himself in that situation? What would be an ideal pathway?
To get that emotional help as soon as possible. Because what it is, as soon as the police leave your house, you're left on your own to deal with everything. There is apart from, if you want to refer yourself to many, now I know there is talking therapy through NHS. Nobody said that to me before. Nobody said that to me for years. I actually found out myself by eventually going to the doctors, and I said, have you got anything available now? But before the doctors phoned me, they knew about the situation through social services and police. Nobody said, look, do you need therapy? Or they should say, look, you went through so much. We think, or we suggest maybe you should try this. Nothing like that was like offered to me.
Wow, okay. Another thing that just came across my mind, in terms of your communication with the police, have you ever felt that you're struggling to be understood?
Yes. You mean in English or just generally?
I don't know.
I definitely felt like I wasn't taken seriously with emotional abuse. When I was calling them on many occasions, I felt like I'm almost wasting their time. They have better things to do. And probably, yes, there are different crimes that are far worse than this. However, if we want to send the message there to the abusers, or that they think they can do whatever they want to, because there is not much police can do. For them to actually, even police said to me that I need to document everything, I need to write everything down. And when for example, I told them that he's driving past the house, well, he can, but it's not often enough. And it's like, I understand he can drive, but if he's driving 3 times a day, there is no need for him. He doesn't live here anymore. So, it wasn't enough. It wasn't frequent enough for them to do something about it. And I remember once I've called, and it was about my daughters actually. And the policeman suggested, well, maybe I should sit down and talk with him. And I'm like, are you for real? I had non-molestation order against him. We went through so much, so many abusive situations, and you want me to sit down and talk to him about something that I know is going to escalate to him, maybe potentially get aggressive towards me. So I was like, I even said to him, I said, I'm not going to do this. I said, I couldn't even have mediations before the court hearings, because obviously they knew it was domestic abuse situation. But police was suggesting, like, it's almost like there is not a problem, just sit down and sort it like adults.
And how did you end up in court?
He wanted to see the girls because obviously he has parental responsibility. However, I felt that it's not safe for the kids to spend time with him.
And what happened? How did it go? How did the court system work?
It's similar to the police, so it is on the paper that there is such thing as emotional abuse.
All right, okay.
However, it's far from like for them to take action, to take that seriously as well. They basically, what they don't take into consideration as well, when you go into court to sort the visitations with the kids, they forgetting or they don't see. They didn't see me, for example, as a victim of domestic abuse.
Right. How did they see you?
Just like I said, to adults, just get on with it. Just get on with it. We haven't got time for this. And it was like for me, like, what do you want me to do? I can't communicate with him, even if I would try my best. Because every time I gave, you know, as we say, you give fingers, someone's going to take the whole hand. And I couldn't communicate with him. It's not I didn't want to. It's just there was no healthy communication between us.
So how did this court support you?
Didn't really. Didn't. No. I haven't been seen going there. I haven't been seen as a victim, because at the end of the day, I understand that, you know, now I'm in that place in my life when I know why I went into that relationship, what I didn't get from my parents, or what I should really been taught as a child, or to have a healthy relationships in the future. But if from the court and police point of view, I should be still seen as a victim of domestic abuse. And I was at that point, I wasn't receiving much help. I went privately because I just couldn't cope. There was too much for me. And they didn't think like, okay, the mother should be fit and healthy for her, so she can support her kids. And that's what I was always trying to get across. If he's still abusing me, then I can't be here, present, to support the kids. Of course, I understand that court was about the kids, but let's not forget why we're not together. It's not because we both just, you know, suddenly decided, oh yeah, let's just split up.
So were there any times where you were scared?
Yes, a lot.
What were you scared about?
In court?
In court and in general, like, what were you?
I just felt completely lonely. I felt alienated, especially because my ex-husband is British and I was the foreign one. I was the only foreign one. And I know people might think, oh, it's in your head, but you just know as a foreign person when someone doesn't take you seriously at all. As soon as they hear the accent, you just know. I'm not saying everyone, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everyone seeing me as a foreigner or something, but you do get that feeling when it's like, oh God.
So after, because it's not yet finished yet, is it? Like, no. Yeah, it's not. So right now, are you guys receiving the help that you need?
My kids completed, like I said, Black Country Women's Aid, that program, and my older girl receiving counselling from school. The younger one is on the list of receiving counselling, and she was referred to camps. So at the moment, but yes, however, I need to really, I did have to push, like constantly make sure that it's done, remind everyone that this what needs to be done. It's not that the help comes to you. You literally need to look and knock on every single door 2-3 times to get that help. Oh, wow. So that's how it feels. Don't get me wrong, like I said, the schools were fantastic. I can't thank them enough for the help, but I know and I've heard that not many people are as lucky as me. with the school or with the help.
So, if you, who would you want to listen to this message?
I would like to really potentially, first of all, definitely police and court, to take emotional abuse seriously, because it does not just affecting adults. I mean, the like me, but mainly the kids. And to look a little bit from not all the couples, not all the people that go there. They not every situation is the same, and I understand they have loads of work. They put in their hours and things like that. However, people seriously getting hurt. Emotion abuse is far worse, because the scars they stay with you for life. And it needs to be taken seriously. It need to be there need to be more actions and more help available, especially for the kids. Schools, I mean, if you look, they cut in their fundings. So I'm quite lucky that the school have the counsellor. Both schools, because it's the same counsellor. But I know that some schools haven't got that help. So I don't know what parents are supposed to do really. That's definitely the main message, but I don't want to discourage women, especially foreign women in this country, to not to do anything, because maybe I was too closed to go and ask for help. Polish people, I don't know, maybe I was scared, but there are people there. There are, and I don't want them to...
How would you want them to feel?
I just don't want them to stuck in that relationship just for the sake, because they feel scared. There is always that fear. However, I'm not gonna say and sit here and say it's fantastic after, but I'm getting there. There is a light, the end of the tunnel, if you know what I mean. They just need to. It's just to make that decision. So there is a choice to stay for the rest of your life in this horrible situation, or it could be that it finished very quickly after, but it might take some time, but it will get better. And there is more, as what we, for example, doing. Maybe this isn't massive help, but there is some help for Polish women now.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So, for example, because you are attending a training soon as well, how to support women after domestic abuse as well, isn't it? So what do you think, like in terms of like immediate support, say for example from women's Black Country Women's Aid, whether the GP or police or things like the immediate help, what could be done with people like yourself, for example, people with lived experience who get that training and support? What
First of all, I think will be a really good idea, because when you're coming out of that relationship, you don't really think you need help. You're in totally different place. It's after a while that you realize, oh my God, I should really get that help at the beginning. So I think it would be good, some kind of, even a short program of few meetings, I don't know, definitely face-to-face, a better one, to show those women what kind of impact that had on them, and to help them the way to navigate that in the future. If they want help later on, at least they've got that knowledge, what happened.
So who would be the best person to deliver it?
To Polish women would be the best Polish person. The best. Because, I mean, let's be honest, the best way to talk about feelings is in the language that you know, the best, Even for me, I can talk about this in English, but to actually feel properly this, it needs to be said in Polish. And for women actually to feel safe, I think it would be better to say it in Polish. For someone, like I said, it could be even just 10 meetings, like a groups. I know, could be even face-to-face if they don't want in groups like one-to-one, but like 10 meetings for them to realize what has happened, what she should really focus on now, what in the future. But because like I said, I didn't know really where to go, what to do, what's happened. It took me years to get to the point where I was like, okay, I was, slowly, progressively, I was in the abusive relationship, and this is for quite a few years. I didn't know I had financial abuse. I only now realized, because I thought, well, he didn't take my account, he didn't take my money. I had the money, but I had the card, but I never had the money because he spent them all. So I stuck because we didn't have the money.
That's awesome. Well, that's quite deep as well, isn't it? So that's all. So do you think we know enough about what abuse is, and like how do you think your kids understand what abuse is?
My older one understands now. However, I know there are some programs at school now to say they do talk about different kind of abuse. However, I think because in the past there was that physical abuse and everyone focused on this, and we still have got all the programs going about physical abuse. It's, like I said, it's at the moment it's on paper and everyone talks about it, but there isn't enough to understand and see. For example, with me, I mean, our marriage almost outside looked like perfect. There were two sides of this. So my ex-husband was always totally different person outside and totally different person inside in the house. And people didn't understand that. Well, there's nothing wrong with your marriage because you look fine. It's that the same. I will compare that a little bit. Sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but it's like that disability, that there are visible disabilities and the ones that people can't see and they judge straight away. It's a bit similar because you can't see emotional abuse. You will see it when it gets really bad or too much for the person.
Yeah.
And it does feel like that. It got to the point a few times in my life when I thought, is it worth it? And if not my kids, I don't know if I would be even here. So the kids were keeping me going for some time until I got the help.
Do you think your kids would be now able to recognize if they were in abusive relationship?
I would like to hope that my older one, yes. The younger one still needs that support and understanding. She's at the moment very closed with her feelings, very shut down. So at first she will have to get all the emotions out. And after that will come the knowledge, like understanding the situation. She does understand a bit.
Do you think school should do more about that?
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Karolina, for this conversation. Do you have any closing remarks that you would like, I don't know, like one-liner message out there that you would want to send to the world?
I think to the women, I know it might not feel like I don't know how to say it, for women to know they are enough. Because for women from abusive families, from abusive backgrounds, they've got very low self-esteem and very low opinion about themselves. And I want them to know that they're not just individuals. And I'm hoping there will be a help out there for them, and for them to know they are enough and they deserve better.
Thanks so much.